The alien warrior said he was the only one who could heal her, and 10 minutes later, the most feared fighter in 3-star systems was sitting beside a human medic, trembling like someone who had just discovered what it meant to be cared for. The battlefield of Orinox 7 was still burning when Dr. Elias Monroe found her. Human forces had been losing ground for weeks. The Carthan Dominion, a brutal warrior civilization, had pushed through 3 colonies with terrifying precision. Their soldiers were fast, disciplined, and raised from birth to believe pain was weakness. But humans had something different. They adapted. Elias was not a soldier. He was a trauma surgeon sent to the front because human command believed something radical. Compassion could be a weapon. When the final explosion shook the canyon, Elias ran toward the smoke instead of away from it. That was when he saw her. She was enormous compared to him. Silver armor cracked. Deep violet skin marked with glowing tribal scars. Her breathing was uneven, but her weapon was still steady in her hand. Commander Vilara of the Carthan Elite Guard. Every human soldier knew her name. She had led the charge that broke through New Jakarta Colony. She was known as the Unbreakable Blade. And she was bleeding out. Elias slowly raised his hands. "I'm a medic," he said calmly. Her glowing eyes locked onto him. They were not filled with fear. They were filled with calculation. "You are human," she said, voice low and controlled. "Yes. You should run. You need surgery." Her weapon twitched slightly toward him. Even injured, she could probably snap his spine in half. "Carthan do not accept aid," she said. Elias stepped closer anyway. "Then consider this a human problem." She studied him for a long moment. Then something unexpected happened. Her weapon lowered. "You are the only one here who sees I am dying," she said quietly. "You are the only one who could heal me." The battlefield went silent in his ears. He did not expect that. He expected hatred, threats, pride, not honesty. He approached slowly and scanned her wounds. Internal rupture. Severe plasma burns. Bone fractures. She should have been unconscious. "You've been fighting like this for hours?" he asked. "4 days." He looked at her in disbelief. "You would have died tonight." "Yes." There was no fear in her voice. Just acceptance. Elias activated his portable surgical field. "You don't have to," he said. Her eyes narrowed. "Explain." "You don't have to prove strength by dying." She stared at him like he had spoken an impossible language. "Carthan are born in pain," she said. "Strength is survival. Weakness is removal." "Humans are born helpless," Elias replied. "We survive because someone helps us." That made her pause. No one had ever explained humanity like that to her. He began stabilizing her wounds. When he placed his hand on her side to seal a rupture, her entire body stiffened. "Do not mistake this for surrender," she warned. "It's not surrender," he said softly. "It's healing." Minutes passed. Her breathing slowly stabilized. The bleeding slowed. Her heartbeat strengthened. And for the first time in what felt like centuries, Commander Vilara was not fighting. She was being cared for. "You do this for enemies?" she asked. "For patients. You gain nothing." Elias smiled faintly. "Not everything is a transaction." That concept hit her harder than any weapon. When he finished emergency stabilization, he helped her sit upright. She did not pull away. Instead, she moved closer. Close enough that their shoulders almost touched. That was when it happened. "I have never been treated gently," she said quietly. Her voice carried something unfamiliar. Confusion. Elias looked at her scars. Hundreds of them. Some healed wrong. Some untreated. "You treated all of these alone?" "Yes." "No one ever helped you?" "Carthan warriors heal themselves. It is law." "That's not law," Elias said gently. "That's loneliness." The word struck her. Loneliness. She had commanded fleets, conquered systems, defeated champions, but she had never considered that word. Her species valued dominance, efficiency, endurance. Humans valued connection. And in that canyon, something shifted. Not a political alliance. Not a ceasefire. Something deeper. She studied him carefully. You are physically inferior, she stated. Very. You would lose against me in combat. Absolutely. And yet you approach me without fear. Elias met her eyes. I'm terrified. That shocked her. Then why remain? Because you're hurt. Simple. Direct. Human. Vilara slowly removed her helmet. No Carthan commander removed their helmet in front of an enemy. It was a sign of extreme vulnerability. The wind moved through her dark silver hair. Her glowing markings dimmed slightly. You are the first being in 300 cycles, she said slowly, who has touched me without attempting to dominate or destroy. Elias swallowed. That's not something to be proud of. It is confusing. She shifted slightly closer beside him on the ruined stone. You said humans survive because someone helps them. Yes. If that is true, then humans are stronger than Carthan. Elias blinked. Why would you say that? Because we survive alone, she said. You survive together. In orbit above them, human and Carthan fleets were preparing for another brutal engagement. Neither side knew that in a broken canyon below, the foundation of their war was quietly cracking. Vilara looked at him again. You healed my body, she said. Yes. She paused. But something else has changed. Elias felt the weight of that sentence. What did I change? She looked at her own hands. For the first time, I do not wish to fight. And in Carthan culture, that was revolutionary. By dawn, Orinox 7 looked like a graveyard made of metal and glass. Burnt ships littered the valley floor, and the air smelled like scorched stone. Human troops pulled back to regroup, expecting the Carthan Dominion to strike again before nightfall. But Commander Vilara did not return to her army. She stayed. Not because she was captured. Not because she was too weak to move. Because she could not stop thinking about one sentence. You survive together. Elias brought her into a hidden medical shelter carved into the canyon wall. It was small, cold, and barely stable. But it had clean light, sterilizers, and a quiet hum that felt almost peaceful compared to war. Vilara stood inside like a predator trapped in a cage, even though the door was open and no one tried to stop her. You could leave, Elias said as he rechecked her vital readings. I know. Then why are you still here? Vilara's jaw tightened. I do not understand what is happening to me. Elias didn't joke this time. He nodded as if her words were completely normal. Pain makes people honest, he said. And healing makes people aware. Vilara's eyes narrowed. You speak as if healing is a weapon. In war, Elias replied, everything becomes a weapon. Even kindness. That sentence stayed in the room, heavy and dangerous. Outside, human radio chatter buzzed like angry insects. The human commander, General Sonar Holt, had already sent 3 messages demanding to know why Elias had gone off-grid with a high-value enemy target. Elias ignored them. Because he could feel it. This wasn't just a wounded alien. This was a crack in the Dominion's armor. Then Vilara did something that almost made Elias drop his scanner. She sat down. Not on the table. Not in a guarded stance. She sat beside him on the floor, back against the wall, knees bent, weapon resting across her lap but not aimed. A Carthan commander sitting beside a human like an equal was more shocking than any battlefield explosion. Tell me something, she said quietly. Elias glanced at her. What? Do humans train their children to endure pain? Elias almost laughed, but he saw her serious expression and stopped. No, he said. We train them to ask for help. Vilara stared at him. In the Dominion, asking for help is shame. That's why you keep dying, Elias said softly. Not in battle. Inside. Vilara's fingers tightened around her weapon. For a moment, Elias thought she would rage. Instead, her shoulders lowered slightly. You are insulting my people. I'm describing what your scars already said, Elias replied calmly. Those aren't warrior marks. Those are untreated wounds. Vilara's voice dropped. If my High Council knew I allowed you to heal me, they would strip my rank. Elias met her eyes. And would you still be alive? That landed hard. Vilara didn't answer. She didn't need to. There was a long silence, broken only by the shelter's weak ventilation system. Then Vilara spoke again, slower this time. What does your species want from this war? Elias exhaled. To survive, he said. To keep our colonies. To not be erased. That is what we want too, Vilara said. The Dominion believes humans will spread until we are surrounded. They believe you are chaos. Elias leaned back. And humans think you're monsters. Vilara didn't deny it. She looked away instead. Monsters do not heal enemies, she said. Elias shrugged. Neither do heroes, sometimes. That's the problem. Outside, the valley shook as distant artillery thundered. The war was still alive. Still hungry. And yet inside that shelter, something was happening that would terrify both governments. Understanding. Then the shelter's door panel beeped. Short, urgent. Elias's security drone flickered on. A human face appeared in the projection. General Holt. Monroe, she snapped. Report. Now. Elias swallowed. He could hear soldiers behind her, alarms in the command room, panic disguised as authority. We have movement in the upper canyon, Holt said. Carthan scouts. And we just intercepted Dominion channel traffic. They're looking for Vilara. Elias's blood ran cold. They think she's been taken, he asked. No, Holt replied. Worse. They think she's defecting. Vilara's eyes sharpened instantly. Her posture changed, like a blade waking up. They will send the Black Hunt, she said. Holt frowned on the projection. What is that? Vilara spoke like she was naming a death sentence. The Dominion's execution squad. They do not retrieve. They erase. Elias felt his chest tighten. They'll kill you. They will kill anyone near me, Vilara said. They will make an example. Holt's voice hardened. Monroe, get out of there. Leave the alien. Fall back to base. Elias didn't answer right away. He looked at Vilara. She looked back, unreadable. Then she did something that shattered every expectation Elias had of her. She placed her weapon on the ground. Not aimed. Not offered. Not dropped in weakness. Set down in trust. I will not run, she said. Holt's eyes widened. Elias finally spoke. General, if we leave her, they'll execute her. And they'll keep the Dominion exactly as it is. Holt's voice turned sharp. She's an enemy commander. This could be a trap. Vilara's head tilted slightly. If I wanted you dead, human, you would already be dead. Holt didn't like that, but she couldn't argue. Elias took a slow breath. Give me 10 minutes, he said. I have an idea. Holt stared. An idea. Monroe, this isn't a surgery problem. Yes it is, Elias replied, eyes flicking to Vilara's glowing scars and then to his medical kit. Because your enemy is built on one weakness they don't even understand. Holt narrowed her eyes. What weakness? Elias answered in a calm voice that made Vilara's eyes shift again, like she sensed something dangerous. They don't know how to care, he said. They only know how to control. Holt's expression changed from anger to confusion. Elias continued quickly. Carthan culture punishes vulnerability. That means their soldiers hide injuries. They refuse assistance. Their system depends on silence. Vilara's gaze sharpened. You would use our honor against us. Elias nodded. No, he corrected. I'd use truth against your council. Holt leaned closer to the projection. Explain. Elias pulled out a small injection device. Vilara's blood chemistry is unique, he said. Your scanners can't read it properly. But my medical scanner can. Vilara watched him carefully. I know what you are thinking, she said. Then you know it might work, Elias replied. Holt's voice lowered. Monroe, what are you planning? Elias looked at Vilara. You said they think you're defecting, he said. Good. Let them believe it. Vilara's eyes narrowed. That will call the Black Hunt faster. Exactly, Elias said. And when they arrive, we show them something the Dominion can't survive. Holt stared at him. What? Elias's voice became steady, almost cold. We show them a Carthan commander who chose healing over death, and lived. Vilara didn't blink. But her breathing changed slightly. Not fear. Something else. Hope fighting against centuries of conditioning. Then Vilara stood and stepped closer to Elias. You will risk your life to expose my counsel. Elias nodded once. Yes. Why? Elias paused. Then he answered honestly. Because if one warrior like you can change, then maybe this war doesn't have to last forever. Vilara stared at him for a long moment. Then she did the most shocking thing yet. She bowed her head slightly. A Carthan commander bowing to a human. To outsmart the Dominion, she said, voice firm, we will need more than medicine. Elias nodded. I know. Vilara's eyes glowed brighter. We will need creativity. And in that moment, humanity's greatest weapon wasn't a ship, or a gun, or a fleet. It was an idea. The Black Hunt arrived before sunset. They did not come loudly. They did not broadcast threats. They simply descended. 3 matte black Dominion cruisers slid through the orange sky like blades cutting silk. No banners. No signals. No negotiation channels. The execution squad. Human scanners lit up instantly. Panic rolled across the human command network. General Holt's voice came through Elias's comm, tight and urgent. They're locking onto your position. I know, Elias said calmly. Vilara stood beside him at the mouth of the canyon shelter. Her armor was repaired. Her wounds were sealed. She was not at full strength, but she was alive. And that alone was rebellion. They will expect me to kneel, she said quietly. Will you? Elias asked. Her glowing eyes shifted toward him. No. Above them, black dropships detached from the cruisers and descended rapidly. Human soldiers took defensive positions, but Elias had already given strict orders, no firing unless fired upon. This battle would not be won by bullets. It would be won by exposure. The first Black Hunt squad landed with terrifying precision. 8 Carthan elites in obsidian armor, weapons humming with charged plasma. They moved like one organism. Perfect. Cold. Unquestioning. Their leader stepped forward. His helmet bore crimson markings, the symbol of internal cleansing. Commander Vilara, he announced. You are charged with ideological corruption and dereliction of warrior code. You will surrender for termination. The words echoed across the canyon. Vilara did not move. Elias stepped forward instead. Every human soldier watching held their breath. You're making a mistake, Elias said clearly. The Black Hunt leader turned his helmet slightly. A human addresses Dominion authority. Yes, Elias replied. A medic. There was faint amusement in the Carthan voice. You are irrelevant. Elias shook his head. No. I'm the reason she's still alive. That caused a pause. Small. But real. The squad scanners shifted toward Vilara. Their readings would show something impossible. Stable vitals. No internal rupture. No untreated infection. The Black Hunt leader's voice lowered slightly. You received assistance. Vilara lifted her chin. Yes. From the enemy. Yes. You have shamed your lineage. Vilara's glowing scars brightened faintly, but not in anger. In clarity. No, she said evenly. I have survived. The canyon went silent. The Black Hunt leader took one step forward. Survival without dominance is corruption. Elias activated his portable projector. Massive holographic medical scans expanded into the air above them. Detailed projections of Vilara's previous injuries. Decades of untreated damage. Internal scarring. Permanent tissue failure. Human and Carthan soldiers alike stared at the display. "This," Elias said loudly, "is your strongest commander before treatment." He swiped his hand. The hologram shifted. Clean tissue. Stabilized organs. Regenerated cellular structure. And this is her after-human medical care. The Black Hunt squad stiffened. "That is technological manipulation," the leader said. "It's healing," Elias corrected. Vilara stepped forward now, voice amplified by the canyon walls. "For 3 centuries, I followed Dominion law. I healed alone. I endured alone. I commanded alone." Her voice did not shake. "And I was dying." The Black Hunt leader's posture hardened. "Pain is proof of strength." Vilara turned to face him fully. "No," she said clearly. "Pain untreated is weakness disguised as pride." That sentence hit harder than any weapon. Even some Black Hunt soldiers shifted slightly. Elias saw it. Doubt. Small cracks. And humans were experts at finding cracks. Elias raised his voice again. "Your warriors hide injuries because asking for help is shameful. That means your military strength is bleeding from the inside." The Black Hunt leader snapped back. "Silence." But it was too late. Human drones had been quietly broadcasting the entire confrontation on open frequency bands. Dominion channels. Frontline units. Civilian networks. Every Carthan soldier watching now saw something they were never meant to see. A commander who accepted help, and did not become weaker. Vilara raised her arm. "The healed one. I was told dependence is decay," she said. "But this human's care has restored strength I lost decades ago." She looked directly at the Black Hunt. "Tell me, how many of you carry untreated fractures?" No one answered. But one soldier's stance faltered slightly. Vilara saw it too. "How many of you hide internal damage right now?" she pressed. The Black Hunt leader stepped forward aggressively. "This display changes nothing. Dominion law stands." Elias smiled slightly. "That's the problem," he said. At that moment, General Holt's fleet appeared in low orbit. Not in attack formation. In medical formation. White-marked hospital ships slid into visible range. Broadcasters activated. Human medical bays opened for all Dominion frequencies to see. Rows of advanced regeneration pods. Sterile environments. Open access. General Holt's voice transmitted across both armies. "To any Carthan soldier who requires treatment, our facilities are open. No conditions. No surrender required." The canyon fell into stunned silence. The Black Hunt leader's voice carried rage now. "This is psychological warfare." "Yes," Elias said calmly. "It is." Vilara stepped beside him again. Not behind. Not above. Beside. "For centuries, we believed isolation was purity," she said. "But isolation is decay." She turned her gaze toward the Black Hunt. "You were sent to erase weakness." She placed her hand over her healed chest. "I stand before you stronger than before." One of the Black Hunt soldiers shifted again. Then another. Tiny movements. But enough. Because once doubt enters a rigid system, it spreads. The leader realized it too late. "Return to ships," he ordered sharply. But his voice no longer carried absolute control. 2 soldiers hesitated before obeying. Vilara watched carefully. Then she did the final unexpected thing. She removed her insignia of command. And instead of discarding it, she placed it at Elias's feet. Gasps erupted from both sides. "I do not defect," she said clearly. "I evolve." She looked at the Black Hunt. The Dominion will either learn to heal, or it will collapse under its own untreated wounds. The Black Hunt withdrew. Not in victory. Not in dominance. In uncertainty. The cruisers lifted. Slowly. Human forces did not fire. They did not chase. They simply let the idea travel. In orbit, Carthan soldiers began privately requesting human medical data. Not surrender. Not alliance. Just information. Seeds. And humans were very good at planting seeds. As the sun dipped below the crystal horizon, Elias sat on a stone beside Vilara once more. She was quiet. Different. What happens now? He asked. Vilara looked toward the sky where black ships had vanished. Now, she said softly, my people begin asking questions. Elias smiled faintly. That's how it starts. She studied him carefully. You healed my body. He nodded. You helped heal something else, she added. Elias raised an eyebrow. What? She looked toward the distant stars. An empire. And in that moment, humanity had not won by force. Not by firepower. Not by domination. They had won by doing the one thing no advanced war civilization expected. They cared. And sometimes, that is the most dangerous strength in the galaxy.